Welcome to Handcrafted by G.L. Broussard. I'm Greg Broussard. And today we get a pleasure working on this rocker that comes from, I believe, Old Town Spring, Texas, from the Amish home furnishing store. And the customer also wants us to do two other chairs. These are the other two rockers that the customer wants me to do. Same thing. They're not broken. They just need to be sanded, cleaned up. It'll take a little while to strip them down. But these are the other two that he wants me to do. I think I'm going to do this rocker first, and this will be a separate video from the other chairs. I think the way that I have to do this is come through with a knife, card scraper, and some sandpaper, and very lightly just get off the old varnish. I just have to be patient, take my time. I don't see any other way to do it. This is bent, probably hickory, I don't know, but I think that's what it is. And I want to keep that original bark that's on the wood. It looks really nice, so I've got to be very careful and just scrape the old stuff off, the whole chair. And with small spots like this, I will come in with my knife and just slowly scrape it out. Down here in this junction, it is just so caked on and it's so hard to get off. So I'm going to use a little bit of stripper to loosen it up for me. And I should be able to start removing this stuff. Let me see if I can get a brush in there. Yeah, it's going to take a minute, that's all. You see me using this knife on the chair quite a bit. I use the sharp side sometimes, but mostly I use the back of the knife. And the back of that knife is sharpened like a card scraper. And you can see it'll take tiny little sharp shavings of wood. This is a card scraper and does the same exact thing. All this is something like, I think, spring steel. And it's got a little bird that it's flapped over on all the sides, so you can use whatever side you want to scrape. And the way that I accomplish that is I just flatten it, and then I flatten this side, take the old burr off, I flatten it with a file, then I come back with a burnisher, and I will slowly roll that burr on there. So what I've done to my knife is I put it in my saw, my hand saw kind of ice thing, and I roll the top of this knife down, and now it's a card scraper on the back and a sharp blade on the front, so I can get into different really small areas with the little card scraper, and I can use a big one when necessary. So that's why you see me using both sides of this knife. So on the back of this chair, to get in between here, I can use the back to card scrape that and get all the stuff off in between here easier. I don't want to use the card scraper on this piece here because it still's got that bark on there. So we'll we'll brush this off, this one here, just like these other parts. So basically I'm just switching between the card scraper, the paint scraper, the knife, and the brush, and until the entire thing's done, and then I'll come over and then I'll sand it to make sure it looks all purty. I've been scraping on this chair for 2 days, and I still have another 2 or 3 days left to scrape it on this chair. So yesterday I went out and got me a media blaster. I'm going to hit it with some small powdery type of substance. It worked really well. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to gear up, and we're going to get this thing started. While I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and do some parts, and it's going to be a lot faster doing it this way. I did as much as I could with the media blasting because the little handle here failed. This is from an older unit, and it kind of works, kind of doesn't, and then it just stopped working. So I had to order another one of these. So, but I think I got in the cracks everywhere that I needed to. And then I'll come back now with the card scraper and the, back of the knife and the knife. And then these areas here I will sand with orbital sander with 220. And hopefully that'll finish this up. And I'll have to come with and hand sand this down in the areas, and we should be able to spray this. A couple of these nails that are sticking out a little bit, just a little bit too far, so I'm going to come back and punch them in. Okay, I'm fixing to spray this, and I use the Hellsman spar urethane. It's either this or this, doesn't matter. This, I've got a gun I can spray it with, but I've got a can of this, and normally I'll start to the bottom of the chairs. There's really no reason for that. That's what I like to do. So when this dries, I can flip it over and I don't have to worry about it later. But I'm going ahead and use the one that's already prepped in the rattle can, and we'll come through and start spraying the bottom of this. Took a long time to get this thing done, a few days of scraping, and then switched over to sandblasting. And we used a really light media so we don't mess up the bark that's on there. Came out really, really nice. This chair came out amazing. A lot of scraping, a lot of knife working, a lot of all kind of stuff, but it came out really nice. I'm glad that I went ahead and got the sandblaster and sped up the process a little bit. Finished it off with a little bit of sanding. It came out really beautiful. To scrape down and sandblast to get it to the level where I could put the